Hello and welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Uche of Thoche and let's continue from where we stopped. This is the part 2 of how to do this box bag that can also serve as a laptop bag. Now we're going to be working on the flap. I'm just going to be using this board to just show you what I want the flap over the top to look like, just like that. So it's going to have a magnetic snap that will close on the inside. I'm just doing it on the fly actually, but as we go on, you'll be able to understand more of how I am going about this creative process. So the first thing I want to measure is how wide I want the flap to be. Like where do I want the flap to start and end? So I am removing 1.5 inch from both sides and I am left with 9 inches. So 9 inches is the width of my flap. Now, next up, we have to find the length of the flap. There was nobody at the workshop with me, so I had to improvise. So feel free to steal my technique. I'm just going to use a paper tape to tape it down and then just run it. So then I also need to decide how far down I want the flap to be. I am going to be using 1.5 inch, so I'm going to be sewing at the 1.5 inch mark. So I'm just marking out 1.5 inch. I just marked it down in more than one place, so I have a line to draw, but I'm not drawing it yet. So I'm just putting the tape rule down at that 1.5 inch mark, using the paper tape to hold it so it doesn't fall off. And then I'm just going to arrange it the way I want, place it on the other side of the flap. I'm so sorry, I didn't realize that this part of the video was out of focus. So please just make do with what you can see from the corner there. So as you can see, I want it to go down to 6 inches. But later on, I increased it to 7 because I just wanted to add 1 extra inch just for the sake of it. Now, the fun part about making samples is that is where you make all your mistakes and error. I have added this design to my collection. It is called the Lily bag and it has 2 magnetic snaps instead of one like I did for this bag. So all the mistakes I made while making this tutorial, I corrected it when I launched the design officially on my page. Now for the flap, a flap is 9 by 7 inches. So I'm just going to mark it out on my board and cut it out. Now I'm using an L-shaped ruler to make sure that I have a straight line so my line isn't all wonky. So there, all drawn. I'm just going to cut it out. Then it's going to have a magnet obviously, so it's going to be 2 magnets or just 1 magnet in the middle. I think I'm going to do just 1 magnet in the middle. If I don't like it, I can switch it and do 2 magnets anytime I want. So 1 inch, and this is 9. Middle of 9 is 4.5. So just right in the middle. Now, remember we're sewing at this line, which is 1.5 inch down. So we're going to just put the magnet at 1.5 inch down too on the other side. Do you get? Any side is the same thing, it doesn't matter. So 1.5, and because that's going to be a 9, I'm just gonna, oh yeah, this is going to work perfectly. So mark it out properly and do this. So when I do this, so this is going to be like this, okay? I hope we're getting it. That's what's going to look like. So I'm going to punch this out too, and know that's the magnet piece, and we're sewing here too. So I'm just going to draw this line so that I can mark it out. This doesn't look equal all of a sudden to me. So I redid the measurements and just drew a straight line to mark it all out. I wanted to make sure all my lines were straight and correct. So I'm just using the pattern to make sure that line is straight. And then I just mark that hole so that when I place it on the inside of my bag, I know exactly where to sew the flap on. So everything I need to make this bag is prepped for. Like I said, I use a form of leather for making my bag. It's super soft, so you can see it doesn't take shape. It's just super flexible. That is where my structure piece comes into play. Once I put it there and put this on each side, once I hold it up, it gives the bag structure. So that's the advantage of the structure piece. If you're using the fiber itself, which is the carry board to make the bags, then you do not need the structure piece. So I've shown you my side. That is the flap. So I'm just going to set that aside. And then I am using suede to line my bags. This is going to be the inside. And I'm going to be putting this as my support piece at the back of the suede, because I'm going to be sewing flap to one end and putting magnets on the other end to ensure that it doesn't rip through the suede, because it is not a really thick fabric. So everything is all prepped up, and I am going to start attaching my fabric. I'm going to be using this really stunning Ankara fabric. The vendor I purchased it from will be in the description box. You have a direct link to our Instagram page, so just check her out and get 1 or 2 fabrics from her. They're super affordable too. So I'm just going to cutting out 1 yard of fabric. I used a bit more than 1 yard though, but I cut out 1 yard because I didn't want to waste the fabric. And now the initial prep work is done. I have my fabric, I have everything all set. Now I'm going to start gumming. My gum of choice is Top Bond. I forgot to show you what the container looks like. I think I might have in one of my previous videos, but I use Top Bond and then I pour it into a small container like this. So I'm not emptying directly from the big gallon, because I buy the 23 kg gallon into here. And then I start gumming. One tip I always give is when you're working on a large surface, like it's not wide but it's very long, just do it bit by bit. Don't put gum all over whatever it is you're using as a structure. So as you can see, I'll gum a little, stretch it over, put gum in another area, stretch it over, and that's how I gum it and make sure everything is secured. So we have our side pieces. This is our flap. I fixed the magnet here. This part is going to be on top. So I'm just going to stick this together now. So you see that. I'm going to set it aside. And then this, we're going to have these rings. Usually I just sew them here, but I want to try something different. I've never tried it before, but I'm going to try it. I'm going to make a slit. I'm going to use something. There's a screwdriver. I'm just going to use a screwdriver to like open up. So try it out. It doesn't work the way I want it to. Ooh, it worked. See that? That is clean. So I can glue it down if it like if I want it to be invincible. I'll just use glue to glue it down instead of sewing it so you don't see any stitch, so it looks invincible. Let's do this one too. Open it, just press it down a bit and slide it in. Not easy. No, I don't even need the plier again. I can use my hand and slide it out. We're gonna fix our structures next.
I'm going to be using this tape to support, but I'm going to cover this tape with fabric. So here's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to gum this. We need 2 pieces, so I'm just going to cut and just set it aside. Okay, now full length of the fabric, which is about 47 inches, right, by 5 inches. Now there's no fixed measurement. Remember, what I'm going to do is fold like this, sew, then flip it inside out. So I'm going to go do that for these 2 here. I fixed the magnet on the flap, and then I'm going to mark out on the other side where we're going to sew this. So this is going to be sewn here, and then it's going to close here like this. So it's going to be like this. So I need to mark out where this is going to be sewn when I'm done sewing it. So I'm going to be sewing this. I'm going to place this here like this and sew to form the flap. So things we're going to sew this to this. I have to sew the top here to secure this here for the 2 sides, and then I need to sew the handles, and this is also the pocket that we said was going to be 20 by 10. So I need to sew it to, it's going to be here. The pocket is going to be sewn here, just like that. So off to the sewing machine I go. Sewing machine all sewn. I only sewed the top, I didn't sew this. To secure the suede done. These are the strips. I'm going to show you how to flip them inside out, and this is the inside of the bag. This is what it looks like. I put a pocket here, plenty of threads to be cut off. See it? So I just secured it twice here, so it's going to fold over and close on that. So this is what our flap looks like. Okay, all right, let's work on this. This is called a loop turner. Just going to pass it through. You can use a safety pin, you can use whatever it is you use in flipping fabrics inside out. Feel free, use it. So yeah. So there. So take this, there's a line here, so open it slightly. It's a bit tricky, but it's doable. There, and then just gently feed the fabric through. And then I'm going to make sure that part is what is inside here. So to make sure that this part that we did the join is what's inside here, I'm going to use the glue. Put the glue there and then gum it together at that very tip. So the fabric is not going to come out. So it's just this fabric you're going to be adjusting. This fabric, you can move it around, but this fabric is not going to come out from there. Okay, so ruffle one down. We have our body, so we just So I'm gonna use the glue again, but on the bottom part here, because it's not going to, this is just to hold it down so it doesn't remove until it's time to sew. Now I don't know if I'm okay with it like this or I want it tucked in more. Instead of 12 is.
So the bag is already taking shape and I am loving the way it is looking. This is the ruffled handle. And then I was contemplating if I liked the way it looked because I could literally feel the metal underneath it and the scrunchie felt like it was too wide. So my plan was to make another adjustment to it when I am like fully launching it, which I did. I reduced the length of the strap. So now it's time to start the assembling process, which is to fix the inner to the outer and then assemble. And then as you can see, look at it clearly, I was already gumming. And then I just got this eureka moment where I stopped and then this happened. I went to my Asooke stash, brought out an Asooke, started ripping it to form fringe and just applied it everywhere on the bag. So it wasn't in my initial plan or initial sketch to actually pull fringes, but this elevated the look of this bag. Like it took it from za to zazazu. Do you get? So that's just one of the things I enjoy about being a creative. I can have something sketched and create something entirely different at the end of the day. So this is what it's looking like.
Machine and just
And then I'm
sew
going to
here
just sew the top and
and
the
sew
two
here
tops, yeah,
to
to
secure
secure
the
it
sewage piece here,
before I
and then I'll
attach the
show you how to
scrunchie.
assemble it next.
Now to gum the side, all I have to do is just apply a little bit of gum to the edges of both the body of the bag and the side. You can use sewing clips or binder clips to hold, but I like to use gum because that way I am guaranteed that it is not going to move around while I am sewing. Now, when I'm assembling, I like to start from the base. That gives me a better outlook into how it's going to fit at the top, like at the other end. So I start from the base. And since it's the first time I'm making this bag, it's a more effective process for me. So that way, if the side ends up being longer or shorter, I know where to make my adjustments from. So I'm just sticking it there, then joining those two edges together, and then just take it all the way to the top. I do the same for the other side as well, and that's basically the entire process. After this, I take it to my arm cylinder sewing machine for the final coupling, and that is how the lily bag was born. If you're not subscribed to my channel at this point, like you've watched to the end, from the very beginning, I was not mentioning subscribe and all of that. So remember, please subscribe, like, and share. This was the point that I decided that I was going to use two magnets the next time I
I'm
make the
gonna
bag
make
instead
it
of one,
smaller
because
because
one is
it's
just,
too big.
it's a bit complicated to fix it. So when I launched
Two
the lily
magnets
bag, it
next
has
time.
two magnets instead of
Wait till
one,
it
and
to
the
make
flap
any
was way more
adjustments now,
structured. I
but
used a thicker leather to make the flap. So my advice to you is whenever you're making a sample bag,
okay.
just
So I'm
go all
going to
out
get
and
the
make the
sewing
sample
machine
bag
and
and it
bring
will
this
help you make
around
all the necessary
and put it on.
adjustments when you need to. So without further ado, this is what the baby looks like after completion. I made the strap behind out of camera and all of that. It's adjustable so you can always increase or reduce the length. I really, really love the way this invincible during holder turned out. I think I'm going to start
Abi?
implementing it in most of my design. And if you want to order for this bag, the link to my product catalog, my Instagram page, and my WhatsApp would be in the description box. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.